Guys, thanks for attending my session. Thanks for tuning in. So my session is Microsoft List and its usage with Teams and Power Platforms. So in this session, I won't go into like too much technical details. So I would like keep it very like I will start from the very basic and just try to build my session on top upwards. So yes, so as I mentioned, my topic is Microsoft List and its usage with Teams and Power Platform. All right, so I'll move to my second screen and just give me 1 second. Yes. All right. So my name is Shakir Majid Khan, and my shorter version of my name is SMK. So you can call me SMK or Shakir. And yes, and I'm working as a senior technical lead at Optus. Optus is like one of the major telecommunication of in Australia, and I am currently working from their Sydney office. And as I mentioned that I'm in Sydney, Australia, so the best part of engaging in this kind of conference is that you see people from all over the world contributing, dialing in, tuning in, giving their sessions. So again, I really like to thank to the all the guys who are organizing this event. All right, and I am a Microsoft certified expert and a Microsoft certified trainer, and I started my YouTube channel, which is named as SMK Geek Speak, and you can find my URL, which is kind of tiny URL, so you can search on even on the YouTube as SMK Geek Speak, and you can find my videos over there. And you can tweet me at SMK Meet SMK, which is my Twitter handle, and you can go to my site shakimajid.com, and you can add me on my on the LinkedIn, so which is my like where you can connect with me. All right, okay, so let's just talk about Microsoft List and how we see Microsoft in the whole Office 365 domain. So Microsoft List is a Microsoft app which helps you to track information and organize your work. So what does that mean? That it's a smart, simple, and flexible way to manage your content data and to present the data in a very in a more presentable way. So what does that mean? That if you have a raw data which is there in your Excel, and you want to share that data with your teams, or you want to even present data with a different uh, with the different colors and with the different data themes or the color theme. So you can by like managing your data, managing your content or the data within your Microsoft List, you can like you can mark the data in a more colorful way and in more representable way as well, and then you can share the data easily with your team members and with the different users as well. um, Again, the good part of the Office, just like the Microsoft List, is you can track you can track the data, you can track the issues. So let's suppose that if there's a issues data within your organizations, and if you want to manage that data, so the Microsoft is a very good place to manage. So you can have your those bulk of data within the Microsoft List, and you have different status and different information will relates to data, and then you can, as I mentioned before, then you can mark the data as per its as per its significance. Like if it is, let's suppose there's a column which is status, and there's a like the three field which like three option is pending, approve and rejected. So you can tell Microsoft list, okay, if it is a pending, so show is in the yellow. If it is in rejected, show is in the red. And if it is approved, so show is in the green. So that's the way you can represent the data. And even let's suppose that if you want to color code the data, if it is being updated by some user, so you can color code the data. So the whole row which would be like marked with a different color, so that you can see like, okay, the Shakir or Rizwan or Vesa, and once they have contributed to that list, or the data has been um, associated with them, so the row itself will be done with the different color formats. And the third good part of Microsoft is that it has the ready-made template, which is the very fantastic way of building your list. So Microsoft list, you are different template, like there's a for Friday schedule, there's managing your work, and then there's a employee onboarding list template as well. So by using that list template, you can easily manage or easily build your data and easily make it more presentable to the other user. And later part of our demo, that I will show you like how to use one of the template, and how to use within the team, and how to connect with the Power Platform. We will use Power Automate to connect the data, and we will try to trigger some emails based on the data, and that would be part of our demo. And as I mentioned that now the Office 365 evilly it has gone on the mobiles as well. So not only you can create Microsoft lists through the Office 365, you can go through the Teams, and then you can go to the mobile application on your mobile. So you have like the three different ways to create Microsoft list, and then access the data onto your Microsoft list. Um the and the good part of Microsoft List is that it inherit the security which is there where you are creating the Microsoft List. So if you are creating the Microsoft List from the Teams, so it will inherit all those permissions which is there in your Microsoft team within your Microsoft channel. And if you are creating within the team like the Microsoft List from the SharePoint itself, so it will inherit all the permission which is there. And yeah, so like it's quite easy, and it is quite accessible to all the users. And how the Microsoft is spanning out all its application within the Office 65 domain, it is making the power user very got like it's making the power user to use all those application without asking for IT to help them to create those application or to make those application work. It goes with like the Microsoft list, it goes with Power Apps, the Power Automate, or anything else. So or even the like the SharePoint itself, like it's all driven by the micro IT pros or the power users. So someone who's there working with Office 365 for a couple of months even, so they can easily go to the Office 365 and create the Microsoft list, and then just start working on it. So it just really it's a matter of like the couple of clicks, and there you go. Create your own application on top of the Microsoft list. All right, so I'll go with my next list. So Microsoft list, as I mentioned, that the Microsoft list is a home. Its a home is there in the Office 65, and it is on Office on a mobile app as well. And you have Microsoft Teams, and the Microsoft Teams and the Microsoft list of love each other. So it is there like the hand in hand, and you can create like the Microsoft list on the Teams. And as I mentioned in my previous slide, that you have a ready-made templates, so you can choose the template, and it will you can just start directly over there, and then just manage your content. The third and the fourth part, which the fourth part is like you had, it can have a customizable view, and the sharing the keep and sharing and keep everyone in sync. So like if you have like if you want to show the data in a different manner, so you can create a different views, and then you can share that lists to the different to the other guys within your organization or outside your organization, how you have like given the access of your Office 65 to the different user. So that's depend on your how you have set up the Office 65. All right, okay, so let's talk about Microsoft list versus SharePoint, which is quite interesting, like how Microsoft list is different from SharePoint list. So as you can see, as you know, if you are coming from SharePoint boy background, that everything which is there on the SharePoint, the baseline is Microsoft. My baseline is SharePoint list. So the list is a baseline architecture on which all the SharePoint list, all the SharePoint list, SharePoint document library, SharePoint pages library, SharePoint form library, SharePoint image library, SharePoint whatever the library it is there, it's all built on top of Microsoft. Sorry, on the SharePoint list. And so starting from like the way from the when the Microsoft launches the SharePoint, and you start building on top of as a on-prem application, and it just blown everyone apart. And back in like 2000, back in 2000s, so SharePoint is like it's one of the best. It's the one of the best application in the share in the Microsoft domain, and even in the not even the Microsoft, even in overall in the content management, in the document management domain. If you compare, if you take if you compare with any of the other application, the similar application by other companies. So as I mentioned that the Microsoft the SharePoint is the baseline architect baseline part of the SharePoint. And what Microsoft has done that it's now take out this SharePoint list, and it just wrap a beautiful layer of the Microsoft list and present it as a Microsoft list. So SharePoint list, which is kind of a core application, and you have like a different templates and the different customizable view, and so on top of it, you have the Microsoft list. So the baseline, even in the Microsoft list, the baseline is the data is there, and data is maintaining as a SharePoint list. If you see from the baseline point of view. So everything which is there, even within the Microsoft, if you go into the, if you go into the, if you go into the like the details, go into the settings of the Microsoft list, you can see the exact view of the SharePoint list settings, and even you can open this Microsoft list in the SharePoint view. So as I mentioned before in my earlier slide and over here as well. So everything which is there within the Microsoft list is kind of the SharePoint list. So apparently, like they it is nothing it is not a major difference. So if you are like, excuse me, if you are like very familiar with the SharePoint and the SharePoint list, so you can go even to the SharePoint and create the SharePoint list. But even if you now, if you click on the new button on the SharePoint list, it will give you a Microsoft list view. So apparently, like there's now been now now the Microsoft list and the SharePoint is almost merged together. So there's not kind of like the major difference. But if you are coming from the like from the SharePoint background and want to see like how what is the difference. So basically both of them are the same, like the difference between 19 or 20 somewhere. So in my, as you can see in my screen as well. So on the left hand side you have SharePoint list, on your right hand side you have a Microsoft list. So SharePoint list gives you a raw view of the your data. But if you see your data which is there on your left hand side as a Microsoft list, you can have the different different way to represent your data. So you can mark your data with different color format based on the data itself. So you don't need to set up those color coding for each of the rows. So what Microsoft list would do, that it will see the content within your list and mark those column or the cell or the row based on the data which contains that. All right. Okay. So now what can now? So let's go to my next slide, and what we will do over here. Let's just discuss about how the Microsoft list and the Power Platform works. So which is quite interesting, and which is quite kind of like the sketch you had, right? Okay, so Microsoft, how can I use the Microsoft list and the Power Platform? So as I mentioned, that everything which is there like in the Microsoft list is a part of behind the scenes kind of SharePoint list altogether. So considering that you have the SharePoint list in your Office 365. And so how you are using the Microsoft, how you are using the Power Platform applications with the SharePoint, you can use exactly the same way your Microsoft is with your Power Platform. So let's consider an example that you have a new item which in there in the SharePoint list, and you want to trigger a flow within the Power Automate, which can email the users that this item, this row has been added, and just perform some action. So you can easily create those Microsoft list and Microsoft List and the Power Platform, you can just easily combine together, and then based on the item created, you can, like as I mentioned, that in the Power Automate on the flow, you can trigger it. Not only the based on the event trigger, you can schedule the data and you schedule into a Power Automate as well. So let's suppose that uh, in the morning time at 7 o'clock, you need to send an email to a couple of users regarding that, okay, this task been pending to them, or you want to say that, okay, that see Shake, you have one task pending today, and you can just go over there and perform this task. So the task would be task with the data which is there on the list. So my Power Automate would do that. It will just go to each of the item over there in the my Microsoft list and see its due date. If the due date is of today, so it just send an email to the assignee person. Okay, assignee person, that okay, our task has been, or the task or item has been assigned to you, or you need to perform the action on it. And if not, then item would be elapsed, and you won't be able to perform the action. So this is one of the situation, or you can. and and you can from the Power BI, from the reporting perspective, you can link your Microsoft list and the Power BI and the Microsoft list work the same way as SharePoint, and then you can just make the data source as a within the Power BI, and then you can work on your Microsoft. You can work on your reports within your Power BI. So that's for the Power BI, and then for the Power Apps. Again, the Power Apps is for the form, as many of you guys know, that is for the form is building the application to as a form-based application. So again, like the Power Apps is kind of like the it's for the power user, even like it's for everyone, for the power user, for the business user. And if there's something which can't be done from the UI perspective, from the Power App itself, so you can customize the application, and then you can introduce your own component, and then you can build your application on top of it. So, considering that you want a more presentable way to have in your input form or the different form, so you can use the Power Apps, and then you can connect the data source with your Microsoft list, and then Microsoft list can consume the Power Apps can consume the data, and then shows the data or present into the input form, and then once the submit, and then you can do the other bits as well. And and the Power Virtual Agent as well, as Vesa was telling you, that's Power Virtual Agent is kind of the virtual bots for the a virtual bot for the power users. So you can you don't require any kind of IT guy or the developer guy to create those virtual agent or the bots for you. So you can just go directly into the Power Agent, and then just build that one, and then you can connect the SharePoint as a data source if you want to, and then work on it. So that's quite a uh, just a connection of like the Power Platform within like the as a whole platform, and how does it work Microsoft. So at the end, whatever, just considering that whatever you can do with the SharePoint, you can do exactly with your sorry whatever you can do sorry, let me rephrase again. So whatever you can do with your SharePoint list, you can do exactly the same with your Microsoft list. So it is quite simple. um, all right, so what I'll do now, that I'll just open my SharePoint, open my Office 365. So let me just go to my, just give me a second. Yep. All right. Okay, so I hope that you guys can see my screen. So let's, what I'll do, I'll just go from very start. So whenever you go to your office.com, I'll go to my office.com. Okay, so right now this is my test tenant, so kind of a developer environment which I'm paying for like a couple of dollars every year. And it gives you, like, I'm using it like for past 2 3 years now, and it just really helped me to manage um, my own demos over here. So every time, like whenever I'm presenting into any session, so I use my this standard, which is, so I know like kind of inside out what happens within this environment. So it is not kind of new to me. All right, okay, so let me, so as I open this office.com, so you can see like all the my kind of popular app, which is coming on the left hand side. So you can see on at the very end, bottom, like the left hand side, you can see the list over here. So you can click on the list, and this is the way you can access the list. All right, and what so this is the one way to create the list. So let's just create the list from the directly from the Office 365, and so I'll create from, I'll say, the blank list from, and I'll just say Office 365. And so as you can see, I am like I've mentioned my name, my Microsoft list name. I can give the description, and I can tell the Microsoft Bootcamp Office 365. And as you can see, it shows me like do you want to save it into my list, and or you want to create under different site, SharePoint site, or the site has been created by the Microsoft team, which is very cool in one sense. So that, okay, so in what it does, that if you select my list, it will create a list under your OneDrive account. So you can go to your OneDrive and you can see over there that, okay, the list has been created for you. So you can just so even if you're like when you want to trigger a workflow or trigger a flow from your Power Automate, so you know that where exactly it is. And if you create under SharePoint or the Microsoft Teams side, so it will show you all those Microsoft Teams side. So what I'll do over here, I'll just create into my list, and then I'll just say create. So we won't be using this one, so I'll just show you that how you create into your Microsoft, how you create this one into your from your Office 365. So excuse me. uh, just give me a second. All right, so that's the one way to go to create that one. The other way, um, what I will show over here, that I'll go to my Microsoft Teams. Let me create one team over here. All right, okay. Just create a team. I think I can hear someone else mic, sorry, voice. So can you just mute the other guy's mic? All right, okay, so let's create that bootcamp and teams. Global automation bootcamps and teams. So, and I'll just say teams, and start blinking. Yeah, nice work. It's pretty fast now. All right, I'll just skip this one. All right, so I just created teams a team, and what I'll do, I'll just click on this one, and over here I'll add a list. So you can see list over here, list, and say save. So it will create another tab, and now I'll just let it load, and I'll create a one of the list over here. Okay. Loading. It just takes some time uh, to load the list. Yeah, here you go. Create a list. All right. So before, like the last time, I used a blank list over here. I'll use the work progress tracker just to show you like how the templates look like and how easy to use the templates. So, which is I really love these templates, and you can track these like you can use these templates as per your own requirement, or even just to if you want to try it. All right, okay, use template, and then I just say works for work progress tracker, and we say bootcamp. Okay, bootcamp. All right, so let's say that okay, we have um, work item, and then we just say all right, so what it does that it creates couple of columns for me based on the template itself, and then you can then now start filling the items or start filling the uh, content within this Microsoft list. All right, okay, so what I'll do that I'll uh, go into the edit in grid view. Yep, and edit in grid view is a very fantastic way, just like kind of like show you, seem like you are working in Excel, and just you just directly go into the Microsoft list and just start filling out the information. So I just say, okay, presenting MS list and Power Platform. Say category is let's say planning whatever, and is in progress, and priority is high, start date is of today, and end date is of today as well. So assigned to is Shakir. I'll just say Shakir, and then let's just say power virtual agent, and we say is in marketing. Let's just and it's completed, and it was critical as well, and it was done, started and ended, and so I have other user. Uh, I can't remember the user, by the way. Yeah, I know the one user. Yes, and I use. Okay, let me just and say we have Power Apps, and I would say research and completed. We say completed or not started. Let's say not started, and it is not. It's quite low, and again is due today, and then start today and due today as well. All right, okay, and I would say I think there is some user with start with S. I'm pretty bad with the names, so all right. I'll leave it as it is. All right. Okay. So when I exit the grid, so it will save the values over here. It will show me those values, and it just shows you like how easy it is to just to populate the data and then to show the data and just to share the data with the other guys, and it's just so presentable in a just a presentable manner that it easily like indicate that what is important, what is not important, are these completed or not completed or started, and then you can easily like show the data as well. So I entered the data and add it in a grid view. So what I will do next, I will just show you like how to add the data to the new item. So new item, and it shows me a different view to for a new item form. So I just say uh, Power Automate, and category is marketing, and it's I say completed, or you say behind. Let's just say behind, and priority is critical, and started should be yesterday, and it should be today, and save it. So we have like the another one which is has behind, and it is contains so which is one part of the magic of Microsoft List. So the another part which I really like is that how you can um, uh, just color code the entire row based on some of your data. So let's suppose that I want to color code that some of the data has been presented by Shakir as a user. So it can be marked as a green. So let's just take this example. So what I'll do that I'll just go and say format current view, and over here say conditional formatting. So because I'm putting a condition over here, and sample text. So the color code would be this one, and I'll add a rule over here assigned to should be equal to Shakir, and yep, and assigned to equal to Shakir, and it should save it, and which is all right. Okay, and if I go to no, let me just go to delete this rule, delete the rule as well, and say assign to, and then equal to, and go to equal to Shakir. Yep, and the sample tag would be yep. So see like how easy it is to mark your data in a different color format. So you don't require a developer or an IT personnel to assess you. As a power user, I can do it. And in my current organization, I've seen so many users have adopted Microsoft List as their go-to data source. Now they are not managing into Microsoft into their Excel, and they're going for the Microsoft List, and then managing the content over here rather than going to the rather than going to the Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, not the Word. Yes. All right. Okay. So uh, which so this is here, and what I'll do that. All right, so I think we have the enough data to play with our Power Automate Power Platform. So in the Power Platform, what I will do that I will use Power Automate and just try to trigger a flow based on the item change over here. So we will see that if the item has been changed, so it will trigger an email to the user that okay, the item has been changed. If the item is being completed, so we say okay, it has been completed, and then you can just thank the like email the user that the item has been completed. All right, okay. So what I'll do over here, and okay, and let me just go this, copy the tab link, or I'll just open in the SharePoint. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. So I just want to I was just trying to see, like, show you, sorry, I would just trying to show you that how I can show this Microsoft list into the SharePoint. So how does it look into the SharePoint itself? So as you can see, it just looks exactly the same as into the SharePoint as well. So all of the in every spaces within the Office 365, or in within the Teams and within the SharePoint, the overall themes, the feel of the Microsoft will remain the same. All right, but as I mentioned, that if you go into the Microsoft list and see the settings, so it is just setting, it's exactly the same. If you are coming from the SharePoint background, you can see like that it is exactly the same as you have the SharePoint list. All right. So what I'll do, that I'll copy this URL just for the sake of my example. So I'll go to my first tab and go to my Power Automate and Power Automate, and I'll create I'll go to my flows, and then into my flows I'll just select new and automated cloud flows, so which will be like automated one, because we need to trigger it based on the item modified within the Microsoft list. So the Microsoft, if the file is created or modified, okay, so we just say Office Bootcamp item completed. Right. Okay. So I'll just skip this one. So I will select the trigger from the next screen. So I just select SharePoint, because at the end this is the SharePoint as I mentioned. So item is modified. So I'm just looking in the item is modified. When item is modified, so I'll give them the URL custom one. Let's just show the custom one. Let me just take out this one, and yep. And why it is not picking up? All right, it should. All right, okay. Just give me a second. It should. No items. All right, okay. Got strange. All right, okay. So why it is not picking up? This is kind of. Let me just go to my SharePoint, my list, and I can let me just use from here rather than going from there. And Power Automate create a flow. I'll just create a flow from here, and okay, so it should work. Automated flow, and then item is okay. So I'll just select this one. Sorry for that, guys, because I'm not sure why it is not picking up. Okay, so let's just see why no item. Okay, all right. Okay, so environment is not correct. Oh, okay. Sorry, guys. So I'm not in the right environment. So let me just go to my, not this environment. All right. Okay, so I'll just choose because I goes to different environment, so that's why it's not picking up my this one. All right, okay. Not why it is not showing me the environment, which is quite interesting. Okay. Okay, let me just sign in again from here. Sign out and sign in again from here. Just give me a second. Sorry, guys. It's quite interesting. So let's just let me just approve myself from my mobile. Just pattern. Sorry. Oh, okay. Yes, yes. Okay. And yes, so your share. Yes, so that's we got the right environment. All right, so we have like almost 15 minutes now, so I think I can cover it very well. So we don't need to get worried. So bootcamp, and then we say and our item completed. So we just say session completed, and let me just skip this one and say SharePoint when the item is modified. So item is modified. So it just so that's cool. And now I can. All right. Okay. So there was. Where it is. So let me just go back again over here, refresh, and use the web app inside. I'll just trying to get the URL because the URL I just missed the URL. And let's go quick. SharePoint. So I'll just take this SharePoint URL and give it to my yeah, over here and okay, just give me a second. Okay. Thing that I'm not having. I've not copied the flow completely. Okay, so it should be teams such as the customer. Oh, why is it just? Yep. Oh, here you go. So it just took so long to just come up. All right. Okay. So I just say condition. Yep. Condition. Yep. Condition, and just say condition if um, progress value is equal to. So that was a progress, right? Progress is equal to completed. So just say I'll just email myself for the sake of this demo. Yep, Office 65 Outlook and send email. I'll just choose the send email. Send email. Send an email notification. Yeah, that's right. So I just say assign to email and not assign to. I'll just send myself. Okay, yes, okay, and just say title and just say task
Hello there, Shakir. Could
Yep.
you zoom into your Explorer window, please, just to
Okay, okay, okay. Sorry, I
increase
was
you
just,
can see. That'd be
yeah,
great.
because I'm using my 4K, so it's kind of.
That's great. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, Rizwan. Yep. All right. Okay, so save it, and yep. Okay, so let's just what I'll do. I'll just change not started as completed. So I'll just go over here and side by side I'll open my Outlook as well. So Outlook, yep, and let's just open the Outlook, yes, and then I'll just say edit this one. Yep, it will edit this one and not started to completed. So it should send me an email that's the task completed. And let's just wait for it to trigger. And I'll check it. I can check from here. That's the, okay, I don't want to see this message. I'll just keep on refreshing. It's like the very first instance used to take a bit of time. So let's just hang on for a couple of seconds or a minute might be. Yep, succeeded. And I can hear the notification sound and the task completed. So the task completed, and as I mentioned, so which is uh, which is quite cool in a way. Like, so rather than approaching the dev or the IT pro to do this stuff, which is quite simple, you can do as a business user or as a power user, you can create this Microsoft list and just connect with the Power Automate or the Power Apps or the Power BI, and then build your reports from there, which is quite cool. And I really like the Microsoft list, and hopefully like all of you guys can use it. And based on what I have shown you, if it is quite new to you, so you can use it. If it is not used new to you, or you already know it, just explore this thing. And as still I'm exploring, as you can see, like I couldn't see, like I was using different environment altogether. But nonetheless, this is pretty much from my site.
Thank you, Shakir.
And,
Thank you for that session. Now, Shakir, there are a couple of
yep,
questions. I think the audience just wants you to kind of summarize the key differences between Microsoft 365 and SharePoint lists. If you could just summarize it concisely,
yep,
as well as tell the audience the pros and cons, I think that would be a big advantage. If you could do that, that'd be
yes,
great. Thanks.
yeah. So the big advantages for the Microsoft list within the Office 365, that if you want to use it, you don't need to go to the SharePoint and create the SharePoint list. So the Microsoft list is just like a single click away to create from the Office 365. So because the SharePoint list is so powerful, which is kind of hidden under the SharePoint environment altogether, and now the SharePoint itself in the Microsoft Office 365 domain as a whole product. So they just take this bit out and just present to the whole world. It's just kind of like the present to everyone that okay, this is the list, and you can use it. And by introducing couple of good feature, and then the layer of views and the formatting, you can directly use the shape on Microsoft list within the Office 365. And as I mentioned, the Microsoft list and the SharePoint list is same. It's the same. So rather than going into like SharePoint and then create the list, you just go into the directly onto the Office 365 or the Teams and create the Microsoft list and use it, which is quite brilliant in my point of view. Yep.
And I
And
think just to build upon that, Shakir,
yeah,
are there any particular outstanding limitations with the Microsoft list? I know you mentioned the benefit of it being
yeah. So
easier to
Microsoft,
connect
yeah. So
to.
Microsoft is like it got the same kind of limitation as you have the SharePoint list. Like you can, there's a resource throttling issues if you goes past this 5,000 items within the default view. So you need to sort out those items. So whatever the limitation you face into this SharePoint list, you might face the same thing into the Microsoft list. But the Microsoft, again, the most important part of, as I mentioned before, that it's there for the user, just single click away. It is there from the Teams, is there from the Office 365. So it's quite beneficial from like as I understand, and as I think, as I think from the business point of view, that just like it's just present over there, and your Office 365, you just single click and you can use it.
So I think
Yeah.
it's important for the attendees to know when using Microsoft Lists as a data source, what should they be aware of? What should they know about Microsoft Lists when using it as a data source in
Y-
Flow, in Teams? Uh,
Yes. So that, as I mentioned, that the data source is exactly as the SharePoint list. So what, as I mentioned, I just can show you again. Let me just go back to my. Yeah, so as you can see, this Microsoft is, which is there in the SharePoint. So like, as in within the Teams, even like whenever you're uploading a document or sharing the content, it's basically saving back into the behind the scenes, saving into the SharePoint. So now the even the Microsoft list is being created as a SharePoint list within the SharePoint. So you can see like all the sites which is been created as your team site, and then you can use this same URL as you are using into your flow for your SharePoint. So you can use the same URL, and you can use within your flow. So which is exactly the same thing, exactly. There are no difference. It will pick up all those triggers. It's all those like item created, item modified, and everything which is your suppose which you are doing within your SharePoint is, you can do exactly the same thing from your Microsoft list.
so one of the benefits and one of the attractive features of
Yep.
Microsoft Lists
Mhm.
is the licensing aspect that you mentioned at the very beginning. So maybe a great way of rounding off this session, Shakir, I think
Mhm.
it would be great if you could just highlight why Microsoft List is your choice as data source versus all the plethora of data sources out there. Really to help the audience know how to leverage SharePoint List because sorry, Microsoft List because as you know, there are many different data sources that we've been using throughout this
Mhm.
event. So why should they use Microsoft 365 lists? Yeah, I think that would be a great way to close off this session. Thanks, Shakir.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, that's a really good question. And then why, like, if we are presenting to the business and if we are just pushing them to use the Microsoft list. So the thing is that, like, let's see, like, even today, like the most organization, they treat the SharePoint as an intranet, as a very sacred place to store the content, to go to to access the SharePoint, to manage their document, to manage their list, to go to those to the sacred place and manage those content. But now, as you have the leverage of using the Microsoft list from the Office 365, you can easily maintain your data. The data can be a raw format. It's just an Excel data. You just like the simple. It can be a CSV data. Just a title of the column and then the rows. That's it. You don't require anything else, and then you can just pull the data and just directly share the data, like the import the data over here, and you can even import the Excel into the Microsoft list, or of and into the Microsoft list. Users use the data, but this feature was this feature is always available in the SharePoint list, but just to see from the organization perspective, there's a SharePoint side, there's a SharePoint list. You need to go to the one SharePoint side and create your list. You might not have the access on this one. So rather than going into the whole level of access and just asking for the permission, you have one Office 365 account. You have the access on the Microsoft list. You can just go over there and create the list within your space. So if you're creating from the within the team, so it will create a SharePoint site, SharePoint. Like the list within the SharePoint. And if you are creating from your Office 365, and if you choose the my list, so it will select the it will use the this Office sorry OneDrive OneDrive as your data as your data source, which is storing the SharePoint list. So it is quite easy. Like you don't require for like in the database you require some behind some like knowledge of data, how the database is managed, like even the dataverse. So you might require some knowledge of dataverse, how it is managed, or like you might say, okay, it is kind of dynamics thing and I don't want to use it. So a part of like if you want to use the data which is like quite simple out the raw in nature, so you can use the Microsoft list which is there.
So there you go,
Yep.
Kakalin. So your last question was related to how do you define when to use Microsoft List versus Dataverse for Teams? So I think the short answer is
Yes.
if it's simple data structure, then use Microsoft Lists. If it's
Yep.
more complex data structure with
Yep.
more governance requirements,
Yep.
yeah, more security requirements,
Yep.
then use Dataverse. As a simple
Exactly.
answer for that, yeah. But it
Exactly,
does get a
exactly,
bit more
and yeah, exactly because in majority of the places on in scenarios you don't require that much permission and that much complex business scenario. You have like the very simple business scenario, and it can be easily done from through the Microsoft list.
So there you go, guys. So just to round up on Shakir's session, go ahead. If you're starting your automation journey, go ahead, start using Microsoft
Yep.
Lists to start
Yep.
as a data repository, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Way to go. Yes. Exactly.
Yep. So it's a great place to begin
Yep.
before getting into more murky, complex requirements. So there
Yes.
you go. So thanks again, Shakir, for joining us all the way from
Thank
Australia.
you. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, guys. Thank you for attending my session. Thanks for listening to me. It's been like one hard hours for you. I know that, but again, hopefully,